your gaming all the time host, Madelyn.
I'm your only one game at a time host, Emma. That's a lie.
Your lying host, Emma. And it's that time of the 6-week cycle again, folks.
Sure is.
It's a side quest week, and we're here to talk to you about the games that we've been playing over these last 3 fortnights.
Heck yeah. Not that time has any meaning anymore.
Yeah, this last indeterminate period. Last time on our 6-week recap, we were talking about kind of our quarantine, our pandemic bucket list games.
Yeah.
And now here we are. Pandemic, no end in sight, really.
Nope.
So no pressure to finish any of that, which is good for me. But plenty of gaming to talk about, since I know, Emma, I feel like you said last time that you didn't think this was going to change your routine too much. But I still think you've been playing more.
Yeah, but I don't think that's because I'm at home. Does that make sense?
Well, it necessarily has to be somewhat related to you being at home, because if you were not at home, you could not play games.
But I think I would have been playing, like, most of this stuff. Well, I would have been playing Final Fantasy at the same pace, regardless if I was going to work or not. That's not true. I probably would have shaved an hour off. I would have tried to go to bed an hour earlier, because I would have had a commute, but...
Fair enough. Just for the record, that was not me saying that Emma is playing games during the workday.
Yeah.
Emma is not.
No, most of it is I'm staying up later, like slightly later than I
Yeah.
normally would, and then that is sometimes filled with games. So that's the only change to my schedule that I could point out.
So it's a jam-packed side quest episode this week. We've been playing a lot of games. Emma for non-pandemic related reasons. Me more for pandemic related reasons. And that's okay. You can play games for any reason under any circumstances. So, Emma, do you want to start off? If we can kind of, instead of doing like one person as their whole list, because I feel like the lists are kind of long this time, do you want to kind of like trade off a little bit?
Sure. I guess I'll just start with like a couple of things that I only played a little of. If that makes sense.
Sure. Let's give them a taste.
I played a little bit more Death Stranding. It's been probably like 5 weeks since I played that. I can't say I'm feeling like a huge urge to get back into it. I'm not like, I don't want to play it either. It just like, I feel like I could pick that up at any point and get back into it. So that's on the back burner. Continues to be Death Stranding. It's this world, except they wear fewer face masks, I guess. And the rain makes you old.
Honestly, when it rains here, I do feel several years older. So
He makes your joints all creaky.
It doesn't really make my joints creaky. I didn't mean to say I have like moisture-induced arthritis. I mostly meant that when it rains here, I give up a little bit on the day, thus making me feel one day older.
Yeah. But yeah, I put down Death Stranding because I had been going on a bike and then I drove it off a cliff and it exploded. And I was like, I'll call it there for today. And I haven't put it back in since.
It's tough to come back from that.
I also played a little bit of a short hike, which we'll be talking about next week. That was also a few weeks ago before we even pulled it from the hat. Enjoyed that. I always have trouble keeping track of things that I'm doing in games, and so a lot of, especially like indie games, like my pet peeve is when they don't have like a checklist of any sort. But with this one, the area you're in is small enough that even if you have forgotten what you're doing, likely you'll run into that character again pretty soon and you'll remember. So it's not bothering me as much with that. But I wish that every game gave me a checklist of like things that I need to do.
It's like they're trying to tell me that some characters aren't the type of people to make detailed to-do lists.
I guess so.
Which just feels unrealistic to my life experience.
It does. How does anyone remember to do anything? And then finally I started, like, the first hour of Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE, the full title.
Sure.
Which is the Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem crossover.
Oh, I
RPG.
know what Tokyo Mirage Sessions is, Emma. I've seen the bones.
Right, yes, that one. There have been no bones yet, but it's fun. I didn't realize it didn't have an English dub, which that's fine. It just threw me off guard a little bit when I didn't understand what they were saying. That's all. But generally, it's a nice looking game. It's fun at this point. I really like the battle system in that everybody has these like session skills that activate when you hit a weakness with another character, and so they follow up on that attack. So it's very satisfying when you're like hits an enemy that's weak and both other characters in your party have a session skill that follows it. Makes you feel like very smart, I guess. I'm also really fond of, so your characters are like aspiring idols or entertainers. So all the terminology in your menus are like, it's not like your characters, it's like your actors or something like that.
That's fun.
I can't remember all the other ones, but there's a whole bunch of good ones. Or like a new game even is like new show or something like that. So it leans very far into it, which I very much appreciate.
We love a good themed UI.
Yeah. Those are all the ones that I played a little bit of. So.
Okay, so I'll give my like short game taste. So first, the recap of the games that I think are from this past 6 weeks that we already talked about on the show. I did make a list. I couldn't remember what episodes lined up where, and I was too comfortable basically to look it up. So you know, I played some Vagrant Story in preparation for the show.
Right.
That is one that I'm thinking I might go back to. I was enjoying it sort of, and it feels like kind of fun to play that with Final Fantasy sitting on my shelf, right?
Mm-hmm.
To like have played Vagrant Story and then play a different 90s game that's now not a 90s game at all.
Yeah.
But I haven't gone back to that since the episode because, as you're gonna find out, I have a lot of games on my list. But it's there. It's sitting on my pandemic bucket list as like a play Vagrant Story item. So I will probably eventually get back to it just for the satisfaction of checking that game off the list.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when I just said about characters making to-do lists?
Mm-hmm.
Yikes. Also, right, played some of the Code Vein demo. That's not been a game, as you probably picked up on if you listened to that episode, that I have felt called to return to.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not finish the download, I mean, maybe it's done now, of Dead Space. It was still downloading when we finished the episode, by the way, just for a little update for the record, for that really riveting story that got cut off a little bit. It was so riveting. I did not finish downloading, so RIP me. But yeah, did not, despite thinking about playing it, did not play it. I have too many games on the list. Those are my tiny games. I have not played, most of the games I've been playing have been more significant in some ways.
Well, I think you maybe have more than me, so maybe you should jump right into whatever game you want to talk about
ready.
first.
I finished 2 games in this 6-week period, which feels just impossible. Just absolutely improbable.
Since you gave me the video game notebook, I have finished a whole total of 1 game.
You know, I mean, I don't think I had finished any games really until March, so that's fine.
I was just filling it out yesterday with my new stuff, and I was a little bit embarrassed.
So, I think first I finished Link's Awakening, which is a dark game.
Yeah.
I'm Clickmate Boyfriend finally started it and is working through it. And I'm excited to talk the philosophy of it with him a little bit when he finishes it. Because I think he'll think it's kind of dumb. But also, it's just, like, darker than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
But Link's Awakening, I'm sure I've talked about it on these episodes before, but to kind of sum up my final thoughts, is definitely, you can tell that it's based on a game that was made decades ago.
Yeah.
In that you have to do so much backtracking, even if you know what you're doing. You do so much backtracking, and I got through the first 2/3 of the game or so without having to do too much kind of guide Googling of what I needed to do next. And then the last third, I was just like, F it. I don't care. There's way too much of the world to explore now. How on earth was I supposed to know that the trading quest was vital? Or, as Emma can attest, when I got trapped in the frickin' dungeon, because I went...
I think you've told this story before.
Okay, so whatever. I got trapped in the dungeon, and then I wasn't trapped. But that really encapsulates my experience with the game. Of, like, how could I possibly have known that I needed a bow and a boomerang? Neither of which were mandatory, whatever. Anyway, it was a fun game. I enjoyed it. It's the first Zelda game that I've finished since Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. Mm-hmm. So really probably only the third Zelda game that I have finished, probably. I
don't even remember finishing the Oracle games.
I did. I know I did. There's like a princess. She's not Zelda though, I think. And you fight Ganon. Come on, Emma. It's a Zelda game.
I remember the seasons changing.
And you
that's all I got.
They're like building a tower in Oracle of Ages, right? You can go back into the past and stop them from building the Dark Tower.
Yeah, they are building a tower. That sounds familiar. That's all I got, though.
Not a game I played in the last 6 weeks, or probably in the last 6 years. So I'll put that aside for now. But yeah, I found parts of it just frustrating in annoying ways. Like, you have the telephone guy that you can call for hints, but sometimes his hints are like a half a step ahead of you, or they're a half a step behind you, and they aren't super useful. So I enjoyed it. I was glad I finished it. It felt good to finish it. But definitely some things about it that I was like, oh, this is a remake of an old game that I paid full 2020 price, or 2019 price for, and thank goodness there's comprehensive guide information online, because otherwise I just no doubt would have gotten stuck somewhere. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine playing it as I don't remember when it originally came out, but I can't imagine playing it as a genuine child without access to the internet. I guess unless you bought the strategy guide, which is the whole point of that industry.
Yeah.
But check that off the list. That was good. That felt good to check off the list. Also felt good to check off the list Indivisible. Finally.
Right.
Conquered the, like, almost literal dragon that Emma could not conquer.
Yeah. I'm very impressed by your grit to get through that final boss.
See, here's the deal. I didn't really feel that the final boss relied that much on perfect blocks. I thought the block timing, if you got past all of the kind of dodging nonsense, was pretty forgiving. It was the dodging nonsense that I frickin' hated.
For me, for some reason, like, there's some beam attack she would do in the second phase that if I missed the first one...
Right, that is true, and that sucked.
I would be dead.
I did die maybe twice to that, and you have to go all the way back, which sucks.
Yeah, they really should just put you at the start of the second phase. That would have made that boss fight extremely so much better.
The problem is that second phase is not very long. I mean, I agree that they should do that, because once you've figured out the first phase, you know, I don't super see a point in making you do it again and again and again and again and again. But the second phase, like, you only have to make, like, 4 blocks.
Yeah, but if they're that unforgiving...
No, I know. I agree, but I understand momentum-wise why putting you there for this, like, itty-bitty fight right at the very end. I think that rethinking that whole boss section to not be reliant on all of the things about the game that were not that fun maybe would have been more successful than just saying, oh, we'll have a checkpoint.
Yeah.
Anyway, I also enjoyed Indivisible, even though in many of the same ways as Link's Awakening, it required so much backtracking for no freaking reason.
Yeah.
Why are there not more portals to warp places throughout the world? I feel like I spent so much time getting to the end, solving whatever heartwarming quest I was doing for my companions, and then having to go all the frickin' way back to the boat or to the like warp portal that doesn't actually take you where you want to go most of the time. And the problem with Indivisible, and I did not finish quite everyone's side quests. I did like 3/4 of them. There were some that seemed to take place on Sumeru or in Lan that by that point when they didn't trigger as I was walking up the mountain, I did not have the patience to go back and figure out. Because as I think you mentioned, the quest markers were super inconsistent.
Yeah. Which sometimes they tell you where they're supposed to go. Sometimes it's like, it's here.
A bunch of the time, the quest marker was on the frickin' portal.
Yeah.
Eventually, I learned where those were on the map, so I knew to ignore them. But 3 or 4 times, I went being like, oh, I'm going to the quest. And I got all the way to the end, to the dumb portal. And I was like, how dare you?
Yeah.
So the
map is not great overall.
So I didn't even get to become super friends with the dog.
Yeah.
Which was a big disappointment.
I mean, none of these things bothered me until they got to the second part of the game. Or, like, the final act of the game, which they threw all the side quests at you. Right? Like, the map wasn't very good, but I didn't really need it to be very good. I didn't have any really side things to do, unless it was, like, recruiting people. Right? So, like, none of those things bothered me until they started, like, throwing, like, you have to go, like, 10 gajillion different places for all your party members. Which is unfortunate that it just loses so much momentum there.
I was also super OP by the end, I think. Chainsaw Hawaii girl was just, like, between her and the assassin guy that I recruited.
Yeah.
We're just, like, tornadoing the heck out of literally everyone.
Yeah.
So I do wish the final battle had more to do with the actual battling mechanics that we had spent 90% of the game using. But I don't know, for a kind of a silly RPG, I found the story kind of affecting, right?
Yeah.
It was an effective conclusion and a clever conclusion to the game. And now, like, right after I finished it, they announced Couch Co-op and New Game Plus.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
How does the couch co-op work?
So the second player can follow along with you and has, like, jump abilities, basically, in the overworld. But they don't have all of Ajna's super abilities. So if they get left behind, they just get warped to you. And then they can play as one of the characters in the fights.
Interesting.
It sounded cool at first, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, this would be great if you've got, like, an 8-year-old.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel about it, too.
Would probably be less interesting for the kind of couch co-op experiences that I'm looking for at this point in my confined existence.
Yeah.
But good for them. We applaud local co-op here at Talk This, even if it perhaps is most successful as a let your child or less video game inclined friend, family member play with you.
Yeah.
Not your friend. Your friend should not be around.
Unless they live with you.
It's a bad time to launch couch co-op. I mean, I guess not. I guess it's like everyone is home all the time, and maybe if you play games by yourself, usually, it's a good way to hook somebody else into your hobby. I take it back. It's a great time to launch couch co-op.
You didn't think that through at the start.
Well, at first I was like, everyone's alone. I was like, wait, I'm not alone.
Just me. Just poor little Emma.
Poor Emma and her eco-terrorist friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, finished Link's Awakening, finished Indivisible, feeling pretty good about myself. Somehow the backlog has gotten almost exponentially longer, despite
you bought yourself like 5 games in one sitting.
Let's use that as the cliffhanger. Emma, tell us about a game that you played.
I've been playing a lot more of Trails of Cold Steel. Which I'm still enjoying to a certain extent. It is very, I would say, like, self-consciously a prologue, I guess, in that there is a lot of stuff getting set up and a lot of questions and not a whole lot of resolution happening in this game. I think the conclusion, I'm in the final dungeon right now, or at least the final chapter. We'll see if it's the final dungeon. It feels very final dungeon-y. So we're getting the conclusion to, like, this arc of there's this mysterious old schoolhouse on the campus grounds of the characters' schools that we've been investigating for, like, 7 months. And now there's a mysterious happening around it. But there's a whole lot of setup around, like, the society and all these different political factions that are warring with each other. And these, the Imperial Liberation Front, are this group of terrorists that have supposedly just randomly exploded in an airship. But I'm kind of skeptical about that, because it was very anticlimactic. The airship would pull it up, they're like, they're getting away, and then it was like, it exploded. Seemingly for no reason. So there's a mystery there, too, of what happened with that. But, like, the leader of this terrorist group, like, they go by C, the letter, and, like, they're the only member of this group that the, like, intelligence division can't get information on. So, of course, there's somebody we know. Okay? I guess, now that I think about it, there's 2 characters whose names start with C, but one of them is not possible. So, it has to be this other guy whose name starts with C. And to be fair, the game has given absolutely no cues as to who this guy is. But as soon as I was like, C, as soon as I made that decision, it was like everything starts being, like, confirmatory in that Crow, like, mysteriously is not in your party when C shows up because he's helping the injured back. So he helped, okay, in this one dungeon. Okay,
lay out your conspiracy theory.
To lay
just
it
go
out.
ahead. Full on. Just give it to us.
He was coming with us. We were going to confront the terrorists. They were holding some miners hostage.
Miners, like, under...
Like, miners in a mine.
Yeah, okay. The pantomime made it very clear to me, but only me. I got it. Miners in a mine.
With the metal. The mine metal.
Yeah.
And so we found a bunch of them, and some of them were injured, and so Crow was like, I'll walk them back. You guys keep going. We can't lose the momentum. Like, okay, sure. He has to go check in with somebody with that, so that kind of gives him an alibi. But then we go farther in, and there's a call like, oh man, there's this super inconvenient rock slide that's keeping me from getting back to you guys. So, I'll try to find some way to you, but I might not get there in time. It's like, man, that doesn't seem suspicious at all. You know?
Not even a little bit.
Anyway, it's like, as soon as you have a theory about something, that no matter how nonsensical it is, like, you start just, like, feeling the bias, the confirmation bias in every event, and I'm just waiting for them. They're not going to do it this game, but I'm going to be very underwhelmed by that reveal, which isn't really the game's fault, to be fair. But one positive thing I want to point out about the game is one thing, it has a turbo mode that speeds up the game. It just, like, runs the game on fast forward, which is awesome. Because I can get things done faster, you know. There was an issue where there's a mini game where you have to, like, hit the buttons in time, and I still had it on turbo mode, and so I was like, man, they really want you to mash these buttons really precisely. And then I realized that because it just puts the game on fast forward, it also put the mini game on fast forward. So I had to turn it off and do it again. It was like 5,000 times easier. But I actually really like running around sort of the main hub area and talking to all the NPCs every time I get a chance to. which is like not something I usually do in a game because it takes up so much time. But because there's like this combination of turbo mode and like all the NPCs in the school area and the surrounding town like have little stories going on throughout the whole game and like relationships with each other, and if you follow along with them you'll get quests during the time that like follow up on the things you've seen from them that you can then help them resolve their issues, but you already know what those issues are because you've been following their stories because you've talked to them, which is really fun. I'm very attached to a lot of the NPCs in this game.
Well, that's sweet.
Yeah, in terms of just like, I'm like, I gotta go check on Mint and her uncle. How is she causing trouble this time? Or the childhood friends who were fighting that I helped make up. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, lots of stuff like that, little stories. There's like a couple in the city town who is like extremely in love, which is very cute. You just check up on them every morning and they're like, goodbye, honey, I'll miss you. Yeah, it does a good job of like making it feel like a place with lots of people that you get to know as the year goes on, which is super cool.
Well, that connects really well to one of my games. Should I jump in?
Sure, go ahead.
So, it's finally happened, people. You thought it would never happen, but I have returned, seriously, to Yakuza 0.
Yeah, woohoo!
I hadn't played it since February, when I picked it up again this week. But spurred on by the many games that I purchased, I told myself, you need to make some serious progress in Yakuza 0 before you let yourself start one of these other games. Mm-hmm. It's been sitting on the back burner, you're enjoying it, but you can't just let it sit there, you gotta actually play it. Mm-hmm. So, some stuff has gone down for Kiryu and Majima.
Yeah. As it's wont to do.
Went to pull a hit as Majima to regain my status in the Yakuza. Instead, discovered that the giant masseuse that I thought I was there to murder was not the person I was there to murder, even though he's, like, tatted to the nines. But instead, his very sweet, very blind assistant, Makoto. Which I think of as a female name because of Persona, but is a androgynous name.
Yeah,
right?
It's more commonly a female name, but it's still pretty gender neutral.
We're finally back. So that was like the end of Majima's first chapter, and then we went back to Kiryu, and I'll talk about it. I'm back to Majima now, so I'm making progress. We seem to have decided not to kill her, which is good, because I'm pretty sure that she's the owner of the empty lot. Pretty sure. Yakuza want her dead. These stories are gonna have to connect eventually. So, if she's not the owner of the empty lot, or, like, somehow, like, the daughter of the owner of the empty lot, or something like that, what are we even doing here? But yeah, Majima and Kiryu continue to get up to some just crazy stuff.
Yep.
Kiryu owns a real estate business now, which is pretty hype.
I have to recommend that at some point you go do well at bowling, I'm pretty sure, now that you have your real estate agency.
Okay, sure. I had a great, by which I mean terrible, time trying to bet on cat fights.
Good.
It's this mini game where it's like, you can make a lot of money, basically, but it's like basically rock, paper, scissors.
Uh-huh.
But it's like bikini-clad girls.
Right, of course.
But man, Josh was reading a lot about how to game the RNG, basically. But I was having so much trouble. If you pick the same rock, paper, scissors, you have to button mash to win. And I was just mashing buttons as fast as I possibly can. And I lost every time. But apparently, the AI will try to go just slightly faster than you. So you have to start slow. And then speed up.
Interesting.
Anyway,
it doesn't seem very intuitive.
I lost a lot of yen, is what I'm trying to say. Because I didn't want to bet on the girl that had the best odds, because that's lame, but apparently that's the only way to win. Anyway, raking in the yen. Now I can throw money in the air. It's great. really kind of getting used to Kiryu's fighting styles again. So now we're back to Majima. Majima can break dance as a fighting style. Also beat the hell out of people with baseball bats. So, I helped a guy.
You gotta incorporate your hobbies, into your job.
You're right. You do. You really do. I'm trying to think of what other fun things happened. Let's see. I helped a guy reunite with his daughter who was working as a hostess, but she was not his daughter, just someone with a coincidentally similar story. But now she's his daughter. Wink.
No. I don't like that.
Also, Kiryu has become a fan of a radio program, Kamiya Dolce, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Where he reads postcards from listeners. So I got my first postcard read about my time teaching a dominatrix how to be more assertive.
It's a good postcard.
Kiryu would not let me make my call-in name I Heart Nishiki, though.
Yeah.
Which was all disappointing.
Why do they even give you the option if they're not going to let you?
No, I was like, Judgment Kazi? Come on. I Heart Nishiki all the way. Anyway, very emotional scene with Nishiki and Kiryu is what I just watched tonight. Very weepy. Glad that they don't call each other Hanaki, though. Like, they have a different brother word that they use. But the Yakuza guys do call each other Hanaki, which is just hard after watching Gurren Lagann. It's just really hard.
It's just like the sort of formal word for brother, I think.
I mean, yeah, I figured. But every time they say it, I just hear Shimon going, Hanaki! It's like over and over. My ears perk up. Yeah, maybe I should do an anime recap on the blog. I've been watching a lot of anime, but that's not for the side quest.
That'd be fun. That's a good blog topic.
I'll put it on my pandemic bucket list.
That's a good transition, too, if you're done talking about Yakuza.
Loving Yakuza is what I'm trying to say. Making a lot of fast progress. I've been told it's a fun game to watch, which tracks to me.
Yeah.
Just trying to avoid Mr. Shakedown for all I'm worth.
Yeah.
Who knows what I'll do if I see him.
You gotta shake him down yourself.
Right. See, that's what goes through my head. But I've lost every time. And now I actually have a decent... Like, it's not like I'm running around with 200,000 yen, right? I've got real money to burn. Anyway, anime.
No, I meant the blog.
The blog.
But I guess that works, too. I finished, I started and finished Final Fantasy VII Remake in these last
Emma.
6 weeks. Yep.
In these last, 10 days.
Yes. I did play it in about exactly a week. I will not say how many hours. You can just... It's not absurd. It's a little bit worrying, but it's not absurd. But I really, really, really enjoyed it a lot. There's definitely some pacing issues, I would say, throughout, but I just found the combat so fun and, the character and world so lively that it only really bothered me a couple of times, I would say. If I'm viewing it objectively, I would probably point to more times than when it actually bothered me, of which there's a little bit of pacing issue, but... Mm-hmm. In the moment, it was not really something I was concerned about. But I was kind of skeptical about the ATB system, which is the combat, which is basically, so it's all real time, but if you press the X button, it goes into tactical mode.
Ooh.
Sorry, I can never not say it the way they said it at the E3 presentation. Which slows down time. And if you have an ATB bar, which is built up by guarding and attacking, basically, you can use a skill. So by pressing the X button, it slows down time so that you can look through your menu and decide what skill you're going to use. and then jump back into it. So I was a little bit more into it when we played the demo at PAX, but I still really thought that I was going to be using the shortcut menu that they have.
Right.
In which you can set shortcuts for your characters for the buttons in a similar way that Kingdom Hearts has. But I did not actually touch the shortcut menu after the first mission.
Wow. I
just forgot it was there, basically. Because the ATV just feels so natural. The real time is pretty frantic, and so sometimes you just need to, like, stop it and think about what you're doing, right? So it's, like, simultaneously real time and a kind of turn-based insensibility, I guess. Which I think is a really smart way to update the originals. The original's combat without totally losing that turn-based roots, I guess.
Okay, couple questions for you. So I haven't played this yet. I keep meaning to talk about the games I've purchased, and then I get distracted by the games I've played. So coming soon! Hey, the games I purchased. But I haven't played Final Fantasy VII yet. But I have absorbed some of the memes by osmosis. So some questions for you, Emma.
Uh-huh.
What does Yuffie look best in?
Tifa?
Tifa, not Yuffie. I know this game. That was so embarrassing. Oh, okay. No.
Yuffie's not in this part yet. I'm looking forward to Yuffie entering the fray.
Tifa, but forgive me.
She will not be until part 2. I think I like her exotic dress the most.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
But I picked mature, which is the sort of that's the default dress, actually. So it's purple. All of them look nice, but I think the hair is nicest on exotic.
Okay, cool. Another question. Did you take the stairs or the elevator?
I took the elevator, actually. There's good scenes on both of them.
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah.
But if you take the stairs, just know that you're taking the stairs.
Yeah. Did Aerith pick up a chair?
She sure did. She picked up that chair, and she did something with it.
Why are the Moogles small children?
There are summon Moogles as well. There's the Moogle in Chocobos. There's the fat Chocobo that has Moogle friends.
Oh my god.
I think those are the only two, actually.
Okay, I'll take it.
There's Moogle drawings from the children.
Are they
that you
beefy?
can look at. What?
Are they beefy?
A couple of them are pretty beefy, yeah.
I feel like they've ripped me off here.
There's also a boy dressed up as a Moogle.
We're gonna move past that. Alright, last question. In a spoiler-free manner, how did you feel about the ending? I assume that's the controversial part, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I think it basically just is a way, like, they're basically just saying, hey, this is going to change more as the parts go on. So I think it's hard to judge entirely it now, but I think it's exciting that they want to change stuff. And the final sequence, like, if they had kept it the way it was in the original with the way the Midgar section ended, I think that would have been an underwhelming final encounter. So I do also think they felt the need to put in something that was a little bit more exciting and final to sort of end the game part. Do I think they could have foreshadowed things a little bit better for new players? Yes, a little bit.
Okay, last question. Was it weird when the Master of Masters was just, like, running a bar? I could have meant that as a joke about the voice actor, I guess.
Yeah, Ray Chase is in here. He's in various places. He's all over.
Which of those characters is the Master of Masters?
I can rest assured you, there's one, no Kingdom Hearts crossover, and two, it is not nearly as out there as Kingdom Hearts. As much of a stink as people are making about some of the changes in here. Like, Okay, can I just say that? I totally respect people who don't like the ending or the changes that they've made, but there are so many people I see that just, like, they gave it to Nomura. Like, of course it's awful. Like, Nomura didn't work as a writer and character designer on the original, or that the original director isn't the producer on this one.
Yeah.
Or that it's the same writer. Or that there's, like, it's one thing with Kingdom Hearts where they just let him do whatever the heck he wants. But, like, this is Final Fantasy VII, and if Square Enix didn't like what they were doing, they wouldn't let them do it.
Here's what you forget, though. He's quiet, but powerful.
I'm not discounting that he's powerful. I just wish that people criticizing it could, like, actually express the things they don't like so that there could be an actual, discussion instead of just being like, oh, it's Nomura again. Because that's just so lazy.
A discussion? In 2020? In this economy?
Fair. But anyway, regardless to say, I really had trouble putting down this game.
Yeah.
Like, I would be intending to stop at 9, and then I would suddenly be midnight. Several days during the week that I played.
I thought you were going to say several days later. I was like, no.
Several days later. No. It would suddenly be midnight, and I would have to put it down. But for several nights, that's what happened. So I really do recommend it.
Well, ready for the last big shared game of this 6-week period?
I'm ready.
You knew it was coming, people. Maybe if you've read the blog. It's Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Woo!
So, Emma and I both got it. I downloaded it day of, but did you have to wait? Was it in the mail for you?
Yeah, I picked it up at FedEx.
Gotcha. So we've been playing since it came out. And we visited each other's islands, finally broke down and got Switch Online just for that express purpose.
Yep.
And yeah. Emma, how's the island of Wisteria?
It's good. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it more than I'm now playing it in small doses every few days, I think. Because there are definitely parts that I don't enjoy about it. In that, like, I can't help, like, what the hell am I supposed to do with all my miles?
Go on endless trips.
I have 15,000 miles.
Okay, so I have 30,000 right now. But you haven't had KK come to your town yet, right?
No.
So there will be some more things to spend your miles on after that.
Okay, it's just like I have so many and nothing to spend them on that it feels like a waste. Like, occasionally I'll just go there and just spam X on the Bell voucher for like 5 minutes, and however many I get, I'll go sell them. But even those are only like 300 bells, so...
I think it's 3,000 bells, but yeah.
No, it's 300. You get 3,000 bells. I'm sorry, they're 300 miles.
Okay, I gotcha. I was like, I don't think there are 300 bells, Emma.
Yes, there's 300 miles for 3,000 bells. But I have so many miles that doesn't even make a dent in that amount. And I really, really hate the durability system.
It's going to bother me less. I have inspired by the people that I saw online, built a little kind of a crafting area for myself. It's definitely annoying, but it's grown to bother me less as I play more. And as I play for shorter amounts of time at a time.
Yeah, it does bother me less now that I'm playing for shorter amounts of time. But, like, my watering can... Why is my watering can breaking?
That is true. I agree that it doesn't make sense that your watering can would ever break. Fishing rod, axe, shovel, fine. Yeah. Slingshot, okay, maybe. But it doesn't make... Your watering can shouldn't break from watering too many flowers.
Yeah. I just think... the uncharitable part of me feels like a lot of the stuff I don't like feels a little bit like it's carried over from the mobile game. In that it's like feels like it's encouraging you to, like, keep doing things and checking in and all this sort of stuff. That doesn't really feel like what I want it to be. But mostly I've just tried to start ignoring those, I guess. And it's making my experience better.
That makes sense. I mean, it's definitely jam-packed with events right now.
Yeah.
Although they seem to have... I don't know if they've learned their lesson from the reaction of Bunny Day, because it does seem, in many ways, that they are updating this game as we go in a much more regular way than is typical for a Nintendo game.
Mm-hmm.
But so I don't know whether I can say that they learned from the reaction to Bunny Day in how they programmed Nature Day and presumably Wedding Month, and there's another one too. Wedding Month is a really weird holiday, by the way.
I haven't been introduced to that in the game yet, so I don't know what it is.
I haven't either. I just saw them announce it. I was like, what? But Nature Day is much more laid back. Like, just like a thing that you can do and some bonus rewards from Tommy Nook. Not Tommy Nook, Tom Nook.
Yeah.
So definitely much chiller than eggs everywhere. And chiller than... I've already blocked out the name of the bunny, thank God.
Zipper.
The
fact that he makes you make a wobbly zipper toy as your last gauntlet is really powerful of him.
Yeah, see, that was Clickbait Boyfriend's reaction, too. He was like, you know what? Respect to Zipper.
And then he gives you a recipe for a wand when it's like, I will never get a star fragment because I don't understand how they work.
We had a meteor shower. So I do have some star fragments. I can mail them to you.
Neato.
If you
Feel
want.
Feel free.
Maybe I will.
Feel free. But the last thing I will complain about is that there's a whole lot of stuff to put on tables and no tables.
I've started to slowly gather tables, but yes.
Like, what am I supposed to put these things on? There is no furniture, there is only stuff, which, you know what, that's the state of my apartment, but that's not what I want my Animal Crossing house to look like.
My Animal Crossing house is chaotic. We have the orange camo floored cabin living room and bedroom.
Of course.
We have I've now made it much more tasteful. I think the last time you came, it was like the Shibuya Scramble tea room, which we've now just made it the bamboo tea room. Much nicer. And the bears on the beach room.
It's good.
Which is my favorite. I just bought another bear for it today.
I have a bear that I keep meaning to send to you, but it means running all the way down to the airport, so I keep putting it off.
Ugh. I'll have to come visit. But I've been enjoying it. It feels good in a game that feels productive to play kind of way, which is satisfying, and it's a fun game to like watch someone play or to like not really watch someone play, but to be like playing with someone. I know there was a lot of whining when it came out about how you have to share an island, you can't have your own island, Nintendo. That's what tweets sound like to me. But I really enjoyed sharing my island because it allows us to progress through the game faster and have fun making choices. And I read so many horrifying articles about people who are in couples who are like, the only place I'm kind to my husband is in Animal Crossing. I was like, yikes, buddy.
Yeah. Quarantine is really testing some people.
Like, yikes. Why don't you like each other? Anyway.
Too bad. You can't break up now.
Yeah. Literally a public health risk. But I live on the island of Shiba. I've grown very attached to all of my neighbors. I know you do not feel the same way.
It's really just Pietro.
But
I just accepted there will always be one that I just don't like.
I would call him the black sheep, but that would be wrong.
The rainbow sheep.
The clown sheep.
The clown sheep.
See, I thought Hippo was going to be that villager for me, but Hippo has really grown on me. Puke green Hippo. With his incredibly classy home. But But I hope they're not listening. Apologies to my neighbors if they're listening. But I think Ozzy is my favorite villager. Because his home apparently...
You've made that very clear.
...smells both of chai and oolong tea. And he's just this lovable doofus of a koala. And he'll wear whatever I tell him to wear. And he's great.
It's always the mark of a good friendship.
He'll like give him a random piece of clothing. He's like, I have to try it on right now. Anyway, this is also the week where I presumably have already lost a substantial amount of money on turnips, but not nearly as much as Clickbait Boyfriend has lost on turnips.
If you're gonna play the turnip game, you really have to get on the Animal Crossing social webs.
No,
you know?
I think that's cheating. I think you have to ride the market as it
Nookazon?
goes. No, I won't do that. I won't do the, like, give me your 600 bell turnip code, Elijah Wood. I just won't.
But will you buy yourself a neighbor for 1,000 Nook tickets?
No. Absolutely not. That's what you should do with all of your miles.
Oh man, I really have to go on a Nook Miles thing again. I have like 8 tickets and I haven't gone on an expedition for a while.
You have to find oranges for us, Emma.
I know. I have to go on an orange quest. Alas.
Do it for the citrus. But you can read more of our thoughts on Animal Crossing on the blog.
Yeah.
But suffice it to say, I mean, I think we're both enjoying it, albeit in maybe slightly different ways.
Yeah.
But even just today, I added a new exciting thing to my town, and Clickbait Boyfriend hasn't seen it yet, so I don't want to talk about it, but I think he's going to be excited when he sees it. Also, I really need to download the app so I can type things on my phone. Because I just send my villagers notes like, yo.
It's okay. I'm sure they still
likes that,
appreciate
but no one else does. So I'll close it with the games that I will be playing the next 6 weeks, yeah?
Sure.
I bought so many games, everybody. Ready? Over the past 6 weeks, I purchased Final Fantasy VII Remake. Not right away. I waited a few days until I had a code. I waited until GameStop had it back in stock so I could use my Animal Crossing code. But also they were having a sale. So I got Final Fantasy X and X-2.
Mm-hmm.
X and X2. What is the proper...
10-2, X2. It doesn't matter.
Should I be referring to Final Fantasy VII as Final Fantasy VII?
If you wanna.
Wouldn't that be pretentious? So I got that, and I got Judgment for me. So I'm enjoying Yakuza, and Judgment was on super sale. And then Clickbait Boyfriend got the full BioShock series, and The Witcher 3 complete, which is going to be dangerous when he starts that one. That's going to be dangerous. And then I got Bastion and Transistor because they were like $3. And that's all I bought so far, I think. I'm honestly not 100% confident, but I'm pretty sure. But I am going to be getting Moving Out when it comes out.
Right.
Because that'll be fun. And I'm...
It's coming out soon, right?
Yeah, like next week, I think.
Yeah.
So I'll get that when it comes out. I'll probably get a short hike for next week. And I'm thinking about Kentucky Route Zero is on sale. It's not on, like, crazy sale, because, again, I don't value developers' work. But I'll also think about whether the sale is worth it or if I want to shell out $25 for the Switch version. Ugh, $25. Ugh. But yeah, so it's going to be a jam-packed week in which I play none of those games in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So get excited, people. So yeah, Emma, any last thoughts on your last 6 weeks of gaming? Before I do our spiel.
Okay, I mean, it's backlog time for me. I'm
Heck
not really
yeah.
adding to my backlog, but I've got a big enough anyway, so...
You're a stronger person than me. Well, folks, thanks for tuning in for this side quest episode of Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
If you liked what you listened to, you should follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Talk This Podcast, and we're on YouTube as Talk This Sisters. If you're following us on social media, you'll never miss a post on the blog, or when I eventually post all of the dumb Animal Crossing inspired drawings that I have been doing while I've been in quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
As you might have heard mentioned, there is a beefy Moogle in the bunch. So
Extremely
follow me
beefy.
on social media so I feel the pressure to post the beefy Moogle. But on social media, you'll see everything that's happening on our blog, but you can also find that if you go to our website, www.talkthispodcast.com, where you can read more about the show, about me and Emma, the games that are in the hat, and, like I've said now like 4 times, our blog, where you can read long-running series Clickbait Boyfriend, where my boyfriend is genuinely like 1 blog post, maybe 2. No, 2 blog posts away from finishing Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. And Split Screen, where Emma and I are watching Coffee Prince and My Hero Academia. But in this last 6 weeks, we also posted blogs about our thoughts on Animal Crossing, and Emma's thoughts on Final Fantasy VII, and Buzz This is back. There's a lot of stuff going on in the blog. It's a great time to be checking out the blog, so what are you waiting for? Well, the episode to finish, but go check out the blog. And finally, if you like the show, the most important thing you can do is subscribe, so you at least have something in your week reminding you, yes, it's Sunday at noon, because Talk This downloaded onto my listening device of choice from my podcast client of choice.
We're really just a public service now, you know?
We're just here to remind you that it's Sunday at noon, and maybe you should put some pants on. Or not, your choice. But you can get that weekly reminder from Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Pandora Podcasts on the app or on your computer. Can you subscribe on Pandora? I don't actually know.
I think so, yeah.
Cool. Spotify, might have already said that, lost my rhythm. Overcast, Pocket Casts, Pod Fun Central. That's a real one. Anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find Talk This. Next week,
I'm pretty sure we're talking about Saints Row, and we're definitely talking about A Short Hike.
It was definitely 2 games that don't go well together even a little bit. So Saints Row feels plausible.
Yeah.
But it's a trick, as usual, to get you to go back and listen to the last week, so you can know for sure. Or to tune in next week, because of the suspense. Foolproof marketing happening at Talk This. Foolproof.
We always think these things through.
Well, Emma, another terrific episode. Do you want to send the people off with a smile?
This week, I hope that you make more progress than Madelyn.
Just in general.
Uh-huh.